What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Just a quick one today. I'm going to give you my first impressions of my latest purchase, the Snugpak Scorpion 2. So I've been wanting this tent for quite some time now, and I've just got it up, no pun intended. And I thought I'd just show you around what I initially like and what I don't like already. So the first thing to note are these poles. Now we've got a green pole here that kind of goes into a bit of a green sleeve here. And I've seen on YouTube people put them that way or also put them the other way. So the difference being that the green poles have a kink, which is roughly about here, pre-bent section. And when you put it in this way round, it means the kink sits here and then follows through to the back. And then the black pole comes out through the bit with a black bit and sits into the floor. Now I initially put it the other way around so that the kink would be on this cross section here, my thinking that it would pull up the back of this tent. But when I did that, it seemed to lift up the front of the tent, so I quickly swapped them round and the tent seemed to sit better. So I've seen people do it different ways on YouTube, and I think possibly that the green in the front where it matches the sleeve is the correct way. Okay, so the next thing to note is the air vents. There seems to be 3 of them, one on each side and one at the back here. Now they're quite similar to ones I've got on my fishing bivvy, but what they don't show you most of the time on YouTube, see if I can get under here. Now hopefully you can see under that, it just goes straight up. There's no supporting piece to lift this flap up, which is definite modification I think is needed, because without this tie this doesn't pull out, and you can see that on the side. It could come out a lot better. I haven't actually checked under this one, but I'm assuming it's the same. Yeah, so there's nothing to pull this out other than the pre-bent bit of fabric here. So there's definitely an opportunity to have some kind of piece that pushes out on this vent to make sure it doesn't close. Now the next thing to note, I don't think I've seen anybody talk about this on YouTube yet, is this front porch strap. So on all of the other peg points, I'll show you here, the peg goes through a loop of fabric and it's pulled out nice and strong. On this front one, it's slightly different. Let me just pull it out to show you. So this is how it comes, and it's got the same fabric loop. So my assumption is that that bit goes through the peg, this loop here, which I thought you'd pull on. But as you can see, it doesn't pull down. And this actually seems to be the other way. And then pull on this bit. As you can see, it's tight, it's tensioning, and it's staying still. But what you've got then is this loop can slide up and down the peg, and I don't think it's supposed to be that way. I think it should be the other way. Not entirely sure though. Either way it works, but yeah, not sure. So if anybody knows that, drop that in the comments below and let me know. So you've got 2 Velcro bits on the zip, one here and one halfway up. And the zips run quite freely, they're quite nice. And then you've got the inner tent, which is secured by toggles all around the inside. Probably see here. And again, points here where you can pull and tension everything together. It's really secured well in place. There are tie points here to put the door up to the top. Everything seems well made. And then inside, the door comes in 2 sections. First of all, you've got the Mozzie no-seam mesh, and you can also put the outer skin, or the inner skin I should say, it's on the inside, just to make everything a bit warmer. The tent isn't the biggest inside, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment, but it is enough for me. Okay, so just take my shoes off. Now that's my feet right at the end, near the vent. And if I lie down, you see I'm quite close to the top. Now people have talked about this on YouTube, where if you're probably taller than, let's say, 5'10", this might not be the tent for you. Now I'm actually only about 5'8", maybe 5'8", 5'9", so, and I fit in it perfectly. It's just enough space for me. However, there's one thing again which nobody ever seems to talk about on YouTube, and when you look at these videos, I find that this tent looks huge in height, not inside. And actually look at this. So obviously I cannot sit here. If I go right to the end of the tent, so I'm literally sitting at the door, then I can just about sit here. You see my head's just, if I sit up straight, really put my back up, my head's now pushing against the top of the tent. So even at the highest point of this tent, I can only just about sit up. So it looked a lot bigger when I was looking at other YouTube videos. It's a slight bit disappointing. I think once I've got one of them sort of sit back chairs, I'll be able to sit here and I'll be okay. Now the one other thing that I really wanted to mention that doesn't seem to have been on any other YouTube video so far is the porch space. Everybody says it's got great porch space and that you're able to cook on that really easily if needed in bad weather. So I was thinking, great, I'd be able to have, I don't know, a gas stove or a Trangia burner in here. But I just want to show you the actual space that I've got when I shut the door, because it's not as big as you'd think. Okay, so here's the view from inside the tent, and there's the porch area. Now it probably looks really big on the camera. I've left my trainers in there to give you a bit of a sense of scale. But actually, there's my hand, and I've got tiny, tiny baby hands. Even if I had a gas burner here, there's probably only about a foot between there and the actual material of the tent, so it's not as big as it looks. And what I'd really like to see from Snugpak, if you're listening, is to have a double zip, another zip up here. So what I'd like to be able to do is to be able to pull the front panel down and have like a pillar box style opening, so it can be open from the bottom or the top. That would allow ventilation to go out through the top when you've got the bottom shut, and also I think would aid in airflow when you're cooking. So that would be another mod that I absolutely would ask Snugpak to do in future. Another extra point is how far the door actually slopes away. So you can see probably the zips, and I've got all of this grass in front of me. So to actually get out and open the door, really have to lean outside the tent. Now this could be absolutely soaking, could be covered in snow. You're going to need something here to stop yourself getting wet just to open the door. Now it's a hot summer's day today. Well, I say hot, it's probably about 18-19 degrees, and it's very hot inside the tent. I was expecting that because I have bought this for a winter tent, so I'd expect that it would stay warm inside there. One other thing that could probably be upgraded are the pegs. Now they are strong, they've not bent at all when I've put them in, and actually I don't know if mine is, if they're all like this or this is an upgraded model, but there seems to be a hole put in here now, and that would be for a bit of a loop so that you'd be able to pull them out easier. These are very sharp. I reckon you could probably cut yourself on the bottom of that if you weren't careful, and they're not very comfortable to just try and pull out by hand. So that's another thing I'll either change or add a loop so that it's easier to pull out. One other positive is the pack size of the Snugpak Scorpion 2. It's actually quite small, so I've put my baby hands there for comparison. That will go nicely in my bag, and I could actually remove the pegs and the poles. Here's one of the pegs and the pole, and I could remove the pegs and the poles just to make extra space in my bag if need be. So there it is, the first look at the Snugpak Scorpion 2, which I'll be using for winter camping. This isn't a review. I will do a full review of the tent when I've had a chance to go out and use it in the wilderness. I can't say, you can't really do a review when you've just had it up in your garden and not even slept in it yet. So as soon as I've done that, I will give my final thoughts on the tent. But for a bit of an opener, it's got some pros, it's got some cons already. We'll see how they get addressed in the coming months over winter. Thanks for tuning in.